the Opelka Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our weekly inbox segment. Barry, today we've got questions about conference expansion, about a nickname for the J.W. Walsh package at OSU, and a question about Sooners having to cheer for the Longhorns. Oh boy. Let's start with this one from Tim. Tim says, do you think OU made it easier for West Virginia to get back in the game with their attempt to run the ball in the third quarter too much, particularly with an even further depleted offensive line? Interesting question here, Barry, from Saturday night.
Well, it is a good question, but I think the OU running game is necessary. The Sooners had to run the ball a little bit. They've got to keep that defense honest. Damian Williams did not have a lot of running room, but he did hit the home run, the 48-yard touchdown run, and when the Sooners try to run the ball, it gets the safeties at least on guard, opens up the play action. The Sooners can't abandon the running game. They've got to keep it on the playbook.
No doubt about it. And you know what? I think it's a little bit skewed because people watched the way that West Virginia ran it with Tavon Austin and think, well, every run should be a 20-yarder. Every run should be a 10-yarder. That's not how most teams run the ball, Barry. They don't usually pick up chunks in quite the big numbers that West Virginia did on Saturday. Getting 2 and 3 and 4 yards, that's generally how it comes. And so the fact that it might not have been as productive as West Virginia might be skewing some of the thinking a little bit. Yeah, you would like it to be a little bit more productive, but let's be honest, there's not many teams anywhere that are going to be that productive every day. All right, back to the inbox. This one comes from Mars. Wow, a question from Mars. That's pretty impressive, Barry. Mars asks, the J-Dub Dozer? We're trying to come up here with a name for the Walsh package at OSU. What about it, Barry?
You know, I saw a lot of names during the game when Walsh was out there running the short yardage offense. I like you guys used some of them in the paper. I like the Walsh machine. Or I guess the Walshine machine, whichever it was. I thought that was pretty good. The thing about the short yardage is it's not the belldozer. J.W. Walsh is a guy that's proven he's thrown over 300 yards against Texas. This is a guy that can do a lot of different things. Blake Bell eventually can too, but we know what J.W. Walsh can do. So I think it's its own identity, but the Walshing machine I sort of liked.
Walshing machine was suggested, which I also like. So was Walsh Cycle. I thought that was fun. And four-wheeler, a play on Walsh's number on his jersey. I'm going to go with Walshing machine for the short term, Barry, because I do think this is an interesting package. You know, you've got a guy that has thrown and can run out of it. We saw him get his first touchdown through the air. So I think it's unlike the belldozer, not that power run package, but it definitely is effective. So the whole Walshing machine gets my vote right now. All right, back to the inbox. This one from Joel. Joel says, what are your thoughts on Maryland and Rutgers headed to the Big Ten? I'm thinking we're ultimately going to have 4 16-team conferences. Well, Barry, conference realignment, it's back. What do you think?
Well, I think Maryland and Rutgers aren't exactly going to solve the Big Ten's football dilemma about bad football. I mean, for crying out loud. I don't think personally we're headed to the 16-team conferences, the 4. I just don't see the Pac-12 expanding beyond what they've got. They tried for the Texas schools, the Oklahoma schools. It didn't work out. So they've got really no place else to go.
Why would the SEC expand it?
Well, I think that's right. But I mean, I think any expansion is not made in concert with others. Mm-hmm. These are a bunch of pirate ships. I mean, they're working on their own. And I don't think 16 is a magic number. I think markets and eyeballs for televisions are the magic thing. And that's why Maryland and Rutgers are coming in. So I don't think we're necessarily going towards the 16-team model.
Well, I don't think the Big 12 wants to get out of its current model of 10. They love the TV contract they've got, and if split amongst 10 teams is a whole lot bigger piece of the pie for everybody than if they expand to 11 or 12. I think what we're seeing right now is those conferences that still feel unstable, that don't feel like they've gotten the stability that the Big 12 has with their TV contract or that the SEC has with their TV contract. They're trying to get stability with numbers. They're just trying to get as many teams as they can, regardless of geography, and make that their strength. And you know what? If that's how they want to do it, fine. But I don't think every conference is going to follow that model of just a land grab and saying, all right, now we're a 16-team or a 20-team conference, and we're all set. I don't think it's going to go that way in most conferences, definitely not in the Big 12 if they have their pick of how far they expand. All right, back to the inbox. This one from John. John says, if OU wins out and K-State loses to Texas, OU will be the Big 12 champ. But dang, does that mean we Sooner fans would actually have to pull for Texas to win?
Well, I've got a solution to your problem here. If the Sooners will just lose to OSU or TCU, well, then you can cheer your head off for Kansas State to beat Texas. But if you want to win those two games, then yes, you're going to have to swallow hard and pull for a Texas victory. Here's the deal. What goes around comes around. 2006, you needed the Horns to go down twice in late season to give OU a shot at the title. That happened. So now it's time for Texas to get a little goodwill and be repaid. You might just have to pull for the burnt orange.
I think that's right. I think Landry Jones was the Sooner that talked about this yesterday on Monday in the press conferences that the Sooners have, and was sort of asked about the question of, are you going to have to pull for Texas? And he said, yeah, it looks like it. So if the Sooner quarterback is thinking, God, we got to pull for Texas, I think that means everyday Sooner fans walking around are going to have to do the same, because it sounds like he's planning on maybe winning those next two games. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.